Now, I know the title comes off a little bit aggressive, and I really don't want it to, but there isn't a better way for me to word this. I do not want Kakashi Hatake on the roster for Jump Force. Now, that's not an attack on Kakashi, and it's not an attack on you if you want to see Kakashi on the roster. In fact, I totally understand why people would want to see him on the roster. Kakashi is probably my favorite of all the mentor/sensei style characters in anime, but there is a reason I put Kakashi on my prediction list and not my wish list. Kakashi is a very popular character. I'd honestly be surprised to not see him on the roster, and no matter what I say in this video, it's not going to affect his chances because I would imagine the entire roster of the game and possibly even the DLC has already been decided. But I still really want to get this point of view out there because I think it's important. So allow me to make the case as to why I don't want to see Kakashi Hatake on the roster. No matter how large your roster is in any game, each one of your slots on the roster is a sort of real estate. For example, if we were to make a Naruto game, you and me right now with 5 characters, we have to decide the roster. We probably wouldn't want to put Kisame on the roster because he would be taking up a valuable slot. Where if you make a Naruto game with 50 characters, Kisame feels like an obvious addition to the roster because of course you've got so much room to work with. Now that's not quite how development works. You won't usually start a project and go, hey, we have 50 character slots, but instead it will be, we have this much time to make the game. How many characters do we think we can make with that, assuming no hiccups? Remembering that some characters will take less time than others, and some characters will take significantly longer than other characters, and they can kind of work out the rough roster size, but really what they're managing there is the time spent on game development. Regardless, we're going to use roster size here because it's much easier for us to do the math. The point I'm trying to make there is that the desire I have for each character will be directly affected by the roster size. Again, if I have 50 characters in the game, I want Kisame. If I've only got 5 characters in the game, I don't want Kisame because I would prefer different Naruto characters there. I bring this up because it's the exact reason I don't want Kakashi on the roster. Currently, not a single franchise in Jump Force has more than 5 characters. I doubt Naruto would be the one to break that mold. Naruto will probably cap out at around 5 characters, maybe 4. And if that's the case, we would have Naruto, Sasuke, and the rest obviously we don't know yet for sure, so let's do a little bit of speculation. Sakura seems like an obvious pick for the main roster, not just because of her impact on the story, but also because of previous public statements from Bandai Namco, suggesting that more female characters are on its way. It's also fairly reasonable to assume at least one Naruto villain, due to the other big 3 franchises getting villain characters. The best pick for this slot, in my opinion, would be Madara, Kagura, Obito, or Pain. Let's assume Madara for this one though, because it helps my point in the video. And that final slot, of course, we're going to assume it's Kakashi because that's the basis of this video. Kakashi is plagued with being the copycat ninja. This works in the anime because it's a cool aesthetic. However, in this case, I think it actually works against him, making me desire the character less rather than more. When we look at that little roster we came up with, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Madara, and Kakashi, we have 2 Uchihas and 1 Sharingan user. Sasuke and Kakashi, of course, share very similar techniques with Lightning Blade and Chidori. Granted, Sasuke's Chidori has changed significantly over time, but they're still thematically and aesthetically the same. Madara and Sasuke both have fire techniques which Kakashi has used before, although likely wouldn't be in his Jump Force moveset because he doesn't use it a whole lot in the anime. But perhaps most importantly, Sasuke, Madara, and Kakashi all have Susanoo. And not just regular Susanoo, the full form of Susanoo. The world of Naruto, even when you limit yourself to characters who are important enough to show up in Jump Force, has so much to offer in the space of variety. The Uchiha clan has crazy stuff like Susanoo. Hyugas have a more grounded mixed martial arts style. Gaara with his crazy ability to control sand, and Pain with his whole 6 paths of pain thing. Using a slot on Kakashi, who shares his greatest power with at least one other character on the roster, feels like a missed opportunity. Perhaps maybe even a mistake. You may be wondering why I'm focusing on Kakashi in this video and not Madara. Well, Madara Uchiha has a lot of variety contained in his moveset. Heck, they don't even have to use Susanoo or Madara Uchiha's moveset if they use his 6 paths transformation. But even if they went for standard Madara, they could focus on his wood style technique, which would set him apart from Sasuke in a pretty substantial way. However, Kakashi is a lot more difficult to design without using moves that Sasuke already uses. He has the options, of course, because of his history in the anime. After all, he is the copycat ninja, but nothing really iconic enough to Kakashi or even on the power scale that he truly deserves. For example, he can use Water Dragon Jutsu, but it would be weird to see Kakashi use Water Dragon Jutsu because that jutsu isn't on the scale of what we know Kakashi can do. I just feel like the version of Kakashi we get would either be too similar to Sasuke, not too similar to Sasuke in the sense of gameplay, but aesthetically, and on top of that, it could have similar issues with either Madara or even Obito if they were added to the roster. Alternatively, he could have a different problem. If he isn't similar to Sasuke or similar to Madara, or at least thematically with his moves, well then he wouldn't end up having those moves that would make me want to play him in the first place. And if that's the case, I feel like I would want to see another character in that slot. Now, there are things that they could do to make Kakashi stand out gameplay-wise. For example, he could use a more defensive gameplay style while still using the same techniques. But the reason I'm arguing against Kakashi isn't for gameplay, because we don't know what his gameplay is going to be like. I'm arguing against it because of thematic reasons. I haven't even touched on the creator character system, or the avatar system, I should say. If Kakashi, Sasuke, possibly even Madara or Obito being in the game, share similar techniques like we've talked about so far in this video, at least thematically and not as actual moves, right? You can use Chidori and Lightning Blade and have them effectively be two different moves, but they're still thematically the same. Your avatar custom moves list is going to end up clogged up with a large variety of Sharingan user moves, and it just makes Naruto look like a world that it really isn't. For example, you would have at least Chidori and Lightning Blade, which are very similar moves. You would have at least two Susanoo moves, not including the potential of Madara or Obito being in the game, which could possibly increase that even further. I'd just like to see more variety in this world that I know can offer it. To be clear, I would still be very excited to see Kakashi announced for Jump Force. In fact, I could possibly even put him on my main team depending on what his gameplay was like. Like I said, I do not dislike Kakashi. I want to make that very clear. I like Kakashi. I like Kakashi a lot. Kakashi is awesome. Alright, I just wanted to make that clear before I ended off the video. I want to thank you so much for watching. My name's been Bilbzy. If you appreciated the video or you enjoyed it in any way, hitting that like button helps me out a lot. It helps other people find it. Subscribe to keep up to date with content like this. My name's been Bilbzy, and I'll see you in the next video.